Okay. All right. Morning, everybody. Some equipment that you'll need today. Dumbbells for a narrow chest press. You'll also want a band. Yeah, so sorry. You get away with it with those. I believe in you more than you believe in you. Dumbbells for a narrow chest press. If you want to do a hip extension on a box, you can. If you're like, no thanks, you could do that on the floor. You'll need a band. If you guys at home don't have a band, that's okay. We can figure something out that's easier. And you're going to want a kettlebell. And I would like for your kettlebell to be 10 pounds heavier than the normal kettlebell you swing. You're only going to swing it 10 times. You're going to do 3 sets of 10. Just wanting you guys to get a little bit of a heavy load in here on an off week where we don't have to swing it a bunch of times. So let's hop in here, you guys. Go ahead and hop on a piece of cardio equipment that you want to work on. A run, a bike, a row, whatever it is that you want to do. You're going to need a foam roller, sorry. You're going to need a foam roller too. Yep, remember this is a bye week. We're going to do some mobility work. There's nothing crushing today. For some reason, if you're like, it's not my bye week, you can ramp this up quite a bit. I'll coach you through this as if we're just kind of making our way through nice and easy. So you guys, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to just move here, run, bike, or row, whatever you want for 2 minutes. And then I'm going to show you what's coming next. We're going to kind of move through this sequence of these 3 6-minute chunks of time. And so the first 6-minute chunk it's kind of mobility, and it's introducing a little bit of floor work, ground work to you guys. So 2 minutes of cardio, then we're going to spend a minute on each side where you really work on your IT bands on your foam roller, so along the lateral aspect of your leg. Remember, this IT band goes all the way from the top part of your hip here, and we're going to stop here by your knee. That's the work we're going to do today. A minute on each side. And then we have spent a lot of time in this A-frame position. And we're going to turn that into a little bit of floor work. So even yesterday we worked on this, the idea of coming from this floating position into this A-frame, this tabletop into this A-frame. And now I'm just going to have you walk with it. So you're going to walk with your legs as stiff as you can, your back as flat as you can. And you're going to end up doing 5 laps. And what I want you to do is use your square. We've got 8 by 8 foot squares here. And you're going to walk out, across your square, and back, meaning from outside of your square to outside of your square, forward and backwards. I'll help you when you get there. I'll have you come off in about 30 seconds, but you could look at this like a warm-up, and we're also introducing some new movement patterns to you. And these new movement patterns help you express different shapes that you would normally express in a different atmosphere, in a different position. This is an overhead position, okay, right here. Okay, it's the same thing, it's an overhead position. Okay, again, you'll go forward and backward. There's no wrong way to do it, we're just trying to figure it out right now. So you're gonna need your space pretty clear to get this work done. Come on off here, grab your foam roller. Yep, and just work on the outside of that IT band. I'm only going to give you a minute. Now this begins to move by pretty quickly, you guys, so go ahead and go. Yep, so on your foam roller, again, just on the outside, all the way from the knee to the hip. And this is a little bit more exploratory than anything else. What I'd recommend is if you do find something that's tender, you stop rolling, you just stay right on it, okay? And that is a technique that is a release technique, just creating that pressure. So we're only gonna hold here for about 20 more seconds. So just about 20 seconds. Again, if you're like, nothing there, fine. Okay, it's again, exploratory. And there's some days where it's painful and there's some days where it's not painful. So in about 10 seconds, we'll switch sides. And again, you're gonna see, this is gonna be part of our daily routine for the next 4 days where we explore different places that may be tight or ropey. Switch sides, and then I'm gonna give you different solutions. Solutions that are body weight solutions. Solutions that are foam roller solutions. Solutions that are barbell compression solutions. So we'll do all of this work at the beginning, and then we're going to work on these ground activities. And so again, what I'm talking about next, coming up in about 30 seconds, is that A-frame, but you're going to walk with it. And you're going to do 5 laps across your square, out and back. 1, 2, 3. And so I think what you're going to find is it's very demanding on the core. There's a lot of shoulder work. And so try and do it unbroken. If you want to challenge yourself, be like, fine, I'll go out and back 5 times without coming out of that position. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. So you have 2 minutes before we start our next cycle. Again, so you know that A-frame. Now all you're doing is walking out of that A-frame. Remember, you're going from outside your square to outside your square. Okay, outside to outside. So hips come up, that's right. Yep, there you go. Outside your square to outside your square. So the hands and the feet have to go all the way outside the square. Forward to backward. Forward to backward, Kristen. Yep. Yep, forward to backward. Good, yep, that's right.
Don't turn around.
Yep, don't turn around. Forward to backward. Good, and again, the head's tucked under. Best you can to feel the heels on the ground. If you can't get there yet, don't worry. You're just kind of going where you're going with this, okay? Don't worry about it right now, okay? See if you can get your palms on the ground, you get your heels on the ground. And again, doing 5 of these out and back might be tough for you. Again, especially if you're like, I'm going all the way outside my square to all the way outside my square. About 8 feet. Good. About another minute to try and finish this up, and when you're done, if you're like, I can't make it, and if you have to bend your knees, it's okay to bend your knees right now. It's fine. Good. Head tucks under. Good. Again, it's a different way to look at an overhead position. When you're done, hop back up, and in about 30 seconds, we're going to go another 2-minute effort, run, bike, or row. Totally up to you. Okay, 2 minutes, and if you're like, whatever, I'm just here to kind of take things down, go light. If you're like, no, I want to go after it, make this a 2-minute effort. Okay, it's up to you, but my clock will roll here in about 15 seconds, and then we're going to start another cycle, and I'll explain that to you. Got about 15 seconds, guys, about 15 seconds. Good. Good. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. So you're on for 2 minutes. Good. When you are done, okay, we're going to do a little bit of compressive work for your quads. So you have a kettlebell that's about 10 pounds heavier than what you normally might use. All you're going to do is sit down, and I want you to set that kettlebell right on top of your thigh, anywhere. Okay? And you can kind of play around, be exploratory with it, but you want that compression. And you'll go for a minute on each side. Okay, you can also take up some of the slack. We'll show you how to do that. And then what we're going to do is, again, we worked on this the other day. We said, hey, look, can I get to the bottom of my squat, get my hands on the ground? You're going to go outside your square, okay, and you're just going to move forward. Okay, each time just kind of sinking into that bottom position. Can I get my palms on the ground and my heels on the ground? If you're like, no, I can't, okay, fine. Come up onto your toes, use your fingertips, okay? It's okay. Again, a little bit more floor work, messing around with a different way to look at how does our squat apply to movement on the floor. You'll do 5 laps, out and back as one, facing the same direction. You guys got about 45 seconds. Again, you have your heavy kettlebell. We'll do a little bit of compression work. on your quads. A little bit of compression work on your quads. Tell me if you want that open or when you want it open. Good, so 30 seconds. Good, 20 seconds, and then Susan, when you're done, will you do your compression work here so they can see you? Perfect. And show them how you kind of can wind that thing up. Perfect. Good. Guys, you got about 5 seconds here. 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Come on off. Grab your kettlebell. Good. Again, it should be 10 pounds heavier than what you normally swing. You're going to sit down. If you've been here on Sundays with me before, we've done this several times. You're going to set that kettlebell down, and you're just going to try and let your muscle, this thigh, relax as much as you can. You can shimmy this side to side. You can do a little bit of work where you kind of take up some of that slack, but we're just going to go for a minute on each side. So it's a little bit like a foam roller. The only difference is that it's done a little bit more trigger point. Okay, so you get to control this a little bit more. And again, if you have a heavy enough kettlebell, you're like, yep, I found a place that'll work. Okay, and you just stick on that place until you feel some kind of a release. And usually that release is somewhere between 30 seconds and 120 seconds. Yeah. 10 seconds, guys, and I'll have you switch sides. And again, the work we're doing isn't like, okay, 3, 2, 1, switch sides. This is not really solving problems right now. This is a little bit more exploratory. It's like, hey, I've never done this before. What happens? And then, again, when you're done, what I'll have you do, I showed you before, but again, you're going to get into that bottom squat. So remember yesterday we worked on, like, can I get my palms to the ground, okay, and drop to the bottom position. You'll go forward and backward, and you're going to do 5 laps like this. And again, if you want to challenge yourself, be like, can I stay down? Can I keep my hips below my knees for 5 laps, out and back? My clock will roll in 30 seconds, and it's just a different way. Instead of doing a back squat or a lunge step, we're now looking at a shape that we haven't used in this way. And you'll be surprised, this can be somewhat challenging for you guys. 10 seconds, and I'll have you hop up. I'll give you 2 minutes to get out and back, 5 laps. Okay, remember this is all the way outside of your square to all the way outside your square. You're on, go ahead and go. Good, so the hands stay on the ground. Yep, hands and stay on the ground so you're not hopping. Okay, yep, you got it right, Kristen, that's right. Yep, so they're watching you, go ahead. Yep, you can watch Kristen. Yep, this is how it looks, that's perfect. Yep, Susan, you got it, that's right. Yep, and again, some of you might be like, oh my gosh, I can't get my hip below my knee. That's okay right now, okay? See if you can do 5 of these in a row. And again, it's a different way to begin to express that same squat, and you don't have to rush through this. I like to get to the middle here and just kind of sit low and hang in that bottom position. Some of you can be like, I got to stand up. That's totally fine. Good. And it's also, you know what? Look what happens with your feet. Yeah, or can you get your toes straight forward? Okay, if you can't, don't worry about it. You're doing 5 laps. Out, back, out, back, out, back, out, back. Good. And again, it's a good way to just use this as a different model to assess. Good. Can you keep your hip below your knee? Okay, every time you land, can you get your hip below your knee? If you're like, nope, not there yet. That's okay. It's wherever you're at. You guys got about 45 seconds. Good, yep. I know. How about doing this after a set of back squats? Wouldn't that be great? We'll get there. Yep, that's good, Tommy. That's great. Good, yep. Good, and again, there's no rush on it, okay? If you don't get through 5, that's totally fine. Good, yep, see if you can get your hip below your knee, Laura, hip below knee. Good, and then when you guys are done with 5 laps, we're gonna go run, bike, or row for 2 minutes, and we'll come up on our last cycle of this work, and I'll show you how it goes. 5 seconds. Good, and if you're like, I'm not done, that's okay. Do what feels best to you. 3, 2, 1, you're on. For 2 minutes, run, bike, or row. Good, yep. And I know that gets, like I said, that gets pretty challenging. That becomes very difficult to do. So 2 minutes here. I'm going to show you what you've got next. So any version of shin to wall is our mobility piece after this. If you're next to a wall, grab wall space. If you have a box, you could easily use your box. If you're like, I don't have anything, okay, you could just do a long stroke lunge and you could grab that back foot and pull it up. Okay, totally up to you. That is 1 minute on each side. And remember, this is not solving problems because we're going for a minute on each side. It's a little bit more exploratory. Okay, so pressing the hip forward, pulling the rib cage in tight, contract, relax, all of it, free game. Same idea, we're just going to do this laterally now. So I'll make my way across my box here. My hands come outside my knee, one hand outside my knee, okay? And I'll just do a little bit of work here. Again, it's just a little bit of lateral work, getting into that bottom position each time on my squat, okay? And I will face one direction for 5 laps, okay? So again, similar, just lateral. About 30 seconds, I'll have you come off. And this gets easier throughout the week, you guys. The more you practice these ground movements, the easier they get. And then my intention is to implement these into things like, hey, we're gonna do a back squat day and we're gonna superset some of this work. Now, we're not gonna get to it this week. And the next 2 weeks are just general fitness, because a lot of you are out for spring break, so you're not gonna miss anything. But when you come back, we'll use some of these movements. So 3, 2, 1, come on off. Any version of this shin to wall or this long stroke stretch, 60 seconds per side. If you have a box, you have a box. Any way that you want to do this is totally fine, okay? Any way you want to do it, we're going to go for 60 seconds. But again, yeah, if you can pull that back leg up, great. If you're like, that doesn't work for me, it's okay. Yep. And again, 40 seconds. But what I don't want you to do in this position is be like, oh, I can just hang out here. I want you to contract, relax, get tight. It's just like anything else. This, right? It's like when we do our, 60-second efforts. Like, okay, I'll take this down 20 seconds at a time. This is going to be the same thing. If you want to make these changes with soft tissue, you really have to dig in and connect to them in that same way. Otherwise, you're just kind of hanging at these end ranges where it really won't make change for you. And everyone's different. I say shin to wall, but you might be able to get shin to wall. That's okay. 3, 2, 1, switch sides. Yep. So you don't have to have your shin to the wall. If you can get it there, that's great. That pulls up a lot of the tissue, but like you gotta meet yourself where you're at and then just push a little bit beyond. So 45 seconds, and then you'll have the final 2 minutes to go out and back with that lateral groundwork. Same thing, trying to keep the hip below the knee as much as you can. If you can get your palms to the ground and keep your heels on the ground, that's great. Good, so about 30 seconds here, you guys. And then remember, like, you should be in a place with this mobility, because people ask me all the time, well, how far should I take it? Well, it should be the place where you're like, I have to focus on my breathing. I really have to focus on my breath, and that's how far you're really pressing yourself. 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I'll give you 2 minutes to do a little bit of this lateral groundwork. Good, 2 minutes here, and it's 5 laps out and back. Good, and again, I say get the hips below the knees, so your feet move at the same time. Yeah, that's right. Good, so it's like a little lateral hop, you got it. Good, so one hand goes outside the foot. Yep, that's right. That's good, David. Yep, and again, it's just, hey, can I get my palms and my heels on the ground? Good, and then each time, you are assessing yourself, being like, can I get my hip below my knee? If my hip can't go below my knee, do I have to come up onto my toes? And that's okay. It's just sort of different for each person. Good, guys. Yep, 5 of them. I got to change my battery here on my mic, so you might lose me for a second, but when you're done with 5, you can rest for a second. Okay, so once you have this piece done, and again, we're going to finish up here. I want you to grab your heavy kettlebell. I did ask you to grab a kettlebell that was about 10 pounds heavier than what you would normally use. So it's like an 18-minute warm-up, which I know isn't, you guys are like, hey, let me get to the workout, but you'll end up looking forward to this 18 minutes as the week progresses. So you will, I promise. So here's what I'm going to do. I want you to take your band that I gave you, and I want you to put it at probably about hip level around your J hooks on your squat rack. Now, if you guys don't have a squat rack at home, don't worry about it. Okay, you're just going to do a regular push-up. Okay, if you don't have a squat rack at home, you do a regular push-up. Good. Yep, probably about hip level. And then all I want you to do before we start in on this is practice putting your hands, both those come down, yep, that's right. Putting your hands on your band, and the wider, the more stable, the narrower, the less stability. And what you're going to find is that this is unstable. If you guys have like a medicine ball at home, you could do your push-up on your medicine ball or a stability ball. Just practice 5 push-ups. And what's going to happen is, yep, I was going to say you probably should, well, first of all, that J hook, those J hooks are in wrong. But you could just share with her. Yep. And those are in wrong too. Yep, they're uneven. Yeah, bring that one up, one. Yep. Good, and you can see the instability is going to cause you to really shake. Now, if your J hooks are too low, you'll just hit the ground. So you might have to bring your hands out wider to get this done. Yep, there you go. Good. And so what I like about this is you're forced to be like, I'm stable, and I'm using a lot of core here and shoulder stability to do this. Okay, that's good. Okay, the other thing I want you to practice is this shrimp squat. Okay, where you balance on one leg, and it can be any version of this. Now, we did this during our last cycle. Okay, you balance on one leg, and you're going to try and squat and touch your knee to the ground without touching your foot to the ground. Again, you're going to try and squat. I touch my knee to the ground without touching my foot to the ground. If you're like, I can't do that, just touch your foot to the ground and kick your way up. Totally fine. If you can hold your foot in your hand, even better. Yep, that's fine. We'll take that. Good. Yep. Okay. So we're going to just spin this up a little bit for you. It's only 6 minutes. Okay, 3 rounds. All I want you to do is swing your kettlebell 10 times, just to shoulder level. Okay, shoulder level. 10 kettlebell swing. 5 push-ups on the band. Okay, with your hands on the band or unstable somehow. Okay, and then 3 per side of that shrimp squat. So 10. 5 and 3. We'll do 3 rounds. I'll give you 6 minutes to get it done. Not meant to be crushing. Again, if you're like, I want to get killed, then go for it and be really quick. You're done in 4 minutes. But again, this is not going to be a rush. I'm putting 6 minutes on it because I need to move on to something else. Clock rolls in 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. So again, 10 kettlebell swing. I'm just looking for the load to be heavier than what you normally swing, because we're only doing 10, and so I'm looking for something different. Good. All of this work is done under control. Just shoulder level is fine, Kristen. Good. All of this work, yeah, you should. Yeah, it's all right. All of this work is done under control. You're going to find you have a ton of time. It's a walk. It's not a run. Good. Take your time on that push-up. If you notice your hips going down, you've lost some stability in the pelvis and the core, so you want to keep the hips up. Good. You could do this bent knee if you're like, whoa, 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 this is scary, this is too much. Okay. Good. Good. And again, the elbows come in as you do this, best you can. Yep. So you want to turn the elbows in. I know that's hard to do. Yep. And again, it should be shaky. You should be like, this is shaky and very challenging. We're doing 3 rounds. 3 rounds of this work. So you have 3 rounds, 10 kettlebell swing, 5 of the push-up. Any instability is fine. Good. Good. And again, you're just finding your way through this shrimp squat however you want. Yep, some of you are like, I got it. Some of you, it's a little bit of a struggle, and that's okay. Good, 3, Tommy. Yep, 3 rounds. 3 shrimp squat on each side. Yep. Good. And again, it's not, none of this is crushing. It's going to spin you up, and it just gives us a chance to do something a little different. That's all. Good. Yep. Is that better?
Yeah.
Yep. Good, guys? That's it, Brian. Good. Good. So again, I'm giving you 6 minutes. None of that is fast. It's all under control and slow. That's harder to do, much harder, much more restrictive.
And I find it easier less moving.
Good, yep, that's right. Good, and the simplest version of this shrimp squat is a lunge. And so if you're like, this doesn't work at all, just do a lunge step, it's okay. Good, guys. So a couple minutes here to get this done. Again, it's not, there is no rush at all to this. Good. And once we get through this, you guys, we're just going to do a little bit of work here at the end. And I'll show it to you in a couple minutes here. Good. Yep, I see most of you are finishing up this last round here. And as you do, there's 3 activities, you guys. You can keep working just while we show you what's going to happen here. You're going to do a narrow chest press. Should be around 15 to 20. So the dumbbells are going to be together here. So you're going to stick the dumbbells together as you press. Somewhere between 15 and 20, the last 5 reps should be hard. That's activity 1. Activity 2, we've done this before. Can I borrow one of your dumbbells? And you can do this, thank you. You can do this standing or you can do it laying down. You're going to press overhead. Okay, if you want to do this laying down, this is a tricep press. You're going to use the same load that you use. Okay, you're just going to press here. So it's the exact same thing. The elbows stay in narrow. You get a little bit more range when you're standing up. Okay, and again, somewhere between 15 and 20. Okay, yep, pretty simple. Those are your first 2. And then your third activity, there's only 3 activities, is either going to be a hip extension or a loaded glute hamstring extension. So if you want to do the hip extension, we've done this before, you just take the dumbbell, you load it on one hip, and then you'll just press into the dumbbell. Okay, that's a very simple version of a way to get the glute and the hamstring to work. And if you want to work here off of the box, real simple, I can show them. Yep, all you're gonna do is I want you to try and load this if you can. So you're gonna put your dumbbell here. Your feet would have to be wedged under like a bike seat or something, and my whole torso is off the edge here. And so all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my load here and hold it to my torso, and you'll see here I only move from the hip, okay? I don't let my back move. And again, I say somewhere between 15 and 20 of those, depending on if you're gonna load it or not. So I'll let you guys work on this. I'd love it if you could make it through 5 rounds of this work. The narrow chest press, the tricep press, and the glute hamstring work. That would be great if you could get through 5 rounds. We've got 15 minutes. And if something's not working, let me know. Otherwise, you guys, it's just sort of a little bit of work here to close this out. Again, if you're like, I want to throw in a minute interval because I'm not on a bye week, do it. Narrow press, 15 to 20. Good, elbows stay in. And you superset this, so you take this right into your tricep work with that same load, either lying down or standing up. Either one will work. So Elizabeth, turn your palms in so they're facing each other, and then stick those dumbbells together. You got it? Yep. Yep. So again, this work here at the end, all auxiliary work, none of it like heavy back squat, none of it dynamic, and there's no right or wrong choice on that glute work. Good. What you do want to make sure is that you're pressing your heels up against that bike seat if you're using a bike seat. And it should be a lot of work for your spinal erectors, your glutes, and your hamstrings. So it's work for your lower back, it's work for your glute, and it's work for your hamstring. Good, yep. So grab the head of that dumbbell. Yep, so you don't have to grab the handle. Yeah, there you go, good. Yep, way better. Good. Good, and you can sort of mess around with a few options here on this, right? You can be like, I'm gonna try the hip lift or the glute hamstring extension. Good, and again, if you're working off of one of the boxes to do that glute work, you wanna make sure that your hips are off the box. You're not moving at your back at all. Your spine is completely rigid. And you're just using your glutes and your hamstrings to move your torso up and down. Good. So yep, you're gonna slide out even more. And if you're like, hold on, I wanna get used to this, do it without weight first, and then be like, okay, got it. Good. Good, on the tricep work, make sure all that work, pull your elbows in, Amy, and then you're good. Yep, there you go. There you go, good job. All that tricep work is done over your head or behind your head. Over your head or behind your head. Good. And if you're doing that hip lift, the hip extension on the floor, totally fine. 15, maybe 20 here. Good, and again, all I'm asking for is, I'd say 4 rounds, 5 rounds. I'll let you take this all the way up to the end if you want. If you're like, wait, this isn't my bye week, you could do a 1-minute effort on the bike or the run or the row between each one of these. It's totally up to you. Yep, that would work, Amy. Good. You could also set this up with that box right there on your bike if you want. Yep, I don't think anyone's using that box. John, are you using that box? Good, guys. So again, most of you working on your second round. Again, 5 rounds, great. 4 rounds, wonderful. Even 3 is okay. But I would encourage you to just kind of tinker around here as you experiment with different ways to get the triceps active and the hamstrings and the glutes as well. Good, so you guys are on your way here with this. Yep. Good guys, so almost 5 minutes here, and again we've packed quite a bit into a short training session. Good. So Tommy, instead of moving your right leg, so don't let your right leg move, just see if you can only move at your hip. There you go. Good job. Yep, perfect. Good. Yep, that's right, Brian. Yep. Good. Good. And if you are working on that glute hamstring work on the box, that's what it should be. Glute hamstring and a lot of work for your spinal erectors. The lower back does a lot of work to help stabilize here. Good. And if you're like, well, wait a minute, that's not what's happening for me, then let's change it up. Good guys, a little over 6 minutes here, and again, I'm gonna let you feel your way through this. Some of you are gonna be like, I'll do 3 rounds, and then I've got time, I'm gonna, maybe one of those activities that we were doing at the beginning spoke to you, the kettlebell, the shin to wall, the foam roller, and you wanna take time to solve some different problems, absolutely. I think that's good. It's up to you. Some of you are going to be like, you know what, I want to spin this up. I'm going to add a 1-minute effort at the end of each one of these rounds. Totally fine. Whatever it is that you feel is best for you. We will spend, this is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday will look similar, somewhat similar, in terms of what does the first 18 minutes look like. Working on some of these ground activities, working on a foam roller or doing some compression and mobility work. And then we'll always spin off into something that is a little bit more of a mild stimulus. And then, like I said, next week, general fitness. So each day is just something a little different each day, where it's going to be a mix of some strength and conditioning and a couple of revisit workouts that we haven't done in a couple of years are in there over the course of the next couple weeks, as I know some of you will be out. And you do know that there's quite a bit of a modified schedule over those course of those 2 weeks. 6 a.m., 9 a.m., noon, and 4 will be the training times starting next week, and we'll run that schedule for 2 weeks. Again, 6 a.m., 9 a.m., noon, and 4, based off of what you guys pre-signed up for over the past couple weeks. And again, if there is something that you need during that time, let us know. All of those sessions are going to be live on our Fit Remote as well. They'll all be on demand as well. So if you're on vacation and you're like, yeah, I want to do something, you could easily follow along. So you guys, maybe 5-6 minutes here left, and if you are like, I want to really get to some mobility piece, go ahead. Can you get a really good grip with your, I would go high, I would put it back where it was, yeah. As long as you can get a really good grip with your heels digging into that seat, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's right. There you go, that looks right, Kristen. Yep. And then you just sort of, yep, that's right. Good guys, like 3-4 minutes here to finish up whatever it is that you want to finish. And again, if you're like, you know what, I want to take the last couple minutes and do some mobility work. Absolutely. If you can wipe your bands down, that would be great. And I think throw everything back, including your bands, your kettlebells. Just put everything back. That would be great after it's wiped down. Again, you got another 3 minutes here or so. And if you have any questions, hit me with any questions in regards to spring break schedule, number one, general fitness programming, the programming that's coming up the course of the next 2 weeks, or this week, the bi-week programming. Or remember, we are still on our 800 gram challenge. That's 800 grams every day of fruit and vegetable. It's either fresh, frozen, or canned. All of that is free game. French fries do not count. Potato chips do not count. Juices and dried fruits do not count. Those are all your questions, Paul, so thanks for asking. A couple minutes here, you guys, and again, you can close this out however you want. If you want to get more out of it, fine, take it to the end. If you've had enough, you've had enough. Otherwise, thank you a ton for, thanks for coming in, you guys. I appreciate it, and if there's anything you need, please let me know. See you, Elizabeth. Yep. See you guys later, Tommy. Paul, have a good day. Brian, hope your back is better. Looked like it was better. See you guys.